To support this channel, visit the TCGplayer affiliate link in the description below. And if you want to support the channel directly, visit patreon.com/manfred+magic. As a patron, you'll have access to the community Discord where you can talk with myself and other friends about all things Magic. And you'll find even more benefits for each tier, starting at $1 as a copper. Black has more ramp effects than I thought going into this video. And yes, Black has a ton of tutors, and technically any tutor will find a land for you, but that usually feels pretty bad. Seeing as a tutor counts as anything in your deck as well, but they're there just in case. So, starting off with simple Black mana ramp effects. Charcoal Diamond, Phyrexian Totem, and Leaden Mirror all tap to add 1 black. Skull of Ramos taps to add a black, and then you sack to do the same. Black Mana Battery, you pay 2, you tap it, and then put a charge counter on it, just like all the other batteries. And then you can tap it to add a black to your mana pool and remove as many charge counters as you wish. For each charge counter removed from it, add black to your mana pool. Witch Engine, tap to add 4 black to your mana pool, and then a target opponent gains control of Witch Engine. Priest of Gix, when it enters, you add 3 black. Liliana of the Dark Realms, specifically her first and last abilities, +1, search your library for a swamp card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. Mighty Sixer ult gives you an emblem that makes all your swamps tap for 4 black mana. It's so good. She's such a good card. Cost reducing effects. Jet Medallion and Bontu's Monument. Jet Medallion makes all our black spells cost 1 less, and Bontu's Monument makes all our black creature spells cost 1 less. Heartless Summoning makes all our creatures cost 2 less, but creatures we control get -1/-1. Lots of combos here for Modern. Ritual effects. These are what you really think of when you think of black mana ramp. First we got Dark Ritual, of course. Pay a black and then you get 3 black mana to your mana pool. Cabal Ritual does the same, but if you have Threshold, you add 5 black mana instead. Liturgy of Blood destroys a target creature, and then you add 3 black mana to your mana pool. Dark Petition lets you search your library for a card, put it into your hand, but if you have Spell Mastery, if there are 2 more instants and or sorcery cards in your graveyard, you add 3 black mana to your mana pool. There's that tutor, but it also adds mana. Now we have sacrifice effects. Blood Pet, you sacrifice it to add 1 black mana. Basalt Thrall and Blood Vassal. Basalt Thrall, you tap, sacrifice it to add 2 black. And then you can sacrifice Blood Vassal to add 2 black to your mana pool. Very similar. Overeager Apprentice, discard a card, sacrifice it, and add 3 black to your mana pool. Sacrifice, just sacrifice. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sack a creature, and then you add an amount of black equal to sacrifice creature's mana value. Burnt Offering, as an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, and then add X mana in any combination of black and or red, where X is the sacrifice creature's mana value. Culling the Weak, sacrifice a creature, add 4 black mana to your mana pool. Phyrexian Tower, you tap it, sacrifice a creature, and add 2 black to your mana pool. Priest of Yawgmoth, tap, sacrifice an artifact, add an amount of black equal to the sacrifice artifact's mana value. Soldevi Adnate, tap, sacrifice a black or artifact creature, add an amount of black equal to the sacrifice creature's mana value. Reign of Filth, each land you control gains, sacrifice this land, add 1 black. Basalt Sliver, all slivers have sacrifice this permanent, add 2 black, and of course this is just if you're running slivers, obviously. Double mana effects. Now we got Bubbling Muck. Until end of turn, whenever a player taps a swamp for mana, it produces an additional black, reminiscent of High Tide in blue. Crypt Ghast and Nirkana Revenant. Whenever you tap a swamp, it adds an additional black. Hey, look at that. Cabal Coffers, Magus of the Coffers. Pay 2, tap, and add a black for each swamp you control. Cabal Stronghold, pay 3, tap, and add black for each basic swamp you control. Kind of a slower version of Cabal Coffers. Creatures in Graveyard effects. Songs of the Damned, add black for each creature in your graveyard. Crypt of Agadeem, pay 2, tap, and add black for each creature card in your graveyard. Spoils of Evil, for each artifact or creature card in target opponent's graveyard, add a colorless and gain a life. Death effects. Altar of Shadows, at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add black to your mana pool for each charge counter on Altar of Shadows, and then you can pay 7 and tap to destroy target creature, and then put a charge counter on it. Works really good with proliferate type stuff. Black Market, whenever a creature dies, put a charge counter on Black Market. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add black for each charge counter on it. Again, proliferate fodder right here. Revel in riches. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, you make a treasure. And it can also win you the game, but honestly, just making treasures off of creatures dying and from your opponents in black is just so good. We have 2 filter effects here, Bog Initiate and Initiates of the Ebon Hand. Both pay a colorless and then you add a black to your mana pool, and then Initiates of the Ebon Hand just dies if you activate it more than 4 times. Other effects, this is kind of just a hodgepodge of everything else that black has. It's kind of crazy. Carnival of Souls, whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you lose a life and add a black to your mana pool. Blanket of Night and Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Each land is a swamp in addition to its other land types. Pretty freaking awesome. Scourge Familiar, discard a card to add a black. Bog Witch, pay 1 black, tap it, discard a card to add 3 black. Herald of Leshrac, cumulative upkeep, gain control of a land you don't control. I've lost lands to this guy before, and it's really dumb, but it's actually really cool because you just steal lands from people. Man, it's just amazing. Just a weird form of black mana ramp. Kyrix, Son of Yawgmoth. For each black mana in a cost, you can pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. Basically makes all your black mana Phyrexian mana, which is pretty awesome. Lake of the Dead. Lake of the Dead has, you tap, sacrifice a swamp to add 4 black to your mana pool. Peat Bog enters the battlefield tapped with 2 depletion counters on it. Tap to remove a depletion counter from it to add 2 black. If there are no depletion counters on it, you sacrifice it. And again, pairs nicely with some sort of proliferate deck. It's almost as if they want you to proliferate in black. Bone Miser, whenever you discard a land card, add 2 black, and it's got some other abilities too, but whatever. Now we have just 2 random extras that don't really fit in any categories because it's really weird. Organ Harvest, yes, it's an uncard. You and your teammates may sacrifice any number of creatures. For each creature sacked this way, add 2 black to your mana pool, which is incredibly good, and I could totally see that just being a normal effect on a future Magic card. And then we have Corlash, Heir to Blackblade. Discard another card named Corlash, Heir to Blackblade, and search your library for up to 2 swamps. Put them onto the battlefield tapped. Obviously, you can't use this one in Commander, because you can only have 1 of him, so it's kind of useless. But you could use it somewhere else, maybe, I guess. Sure. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and then make sure you drop a link to your deck list in the comments so that I can take it and make it into a video that you can show your friends. Anyway, thank you so much. Let me know what I missed, and let me know in the comments what I can do better and what do you like to see. Awesome. Thanks guys so much. See you next week for your weekly dose of Magic.